The thing about magic is that it's just science that we don't understand yet. And that's when a sense of curiosity brings out the best in all of us. So, be it Josephine Lee's disappearing spheres trick, or the famous Matrix illusion. Hello, and welcome back, and today we're gonna figure out the secrets behind the world's top 10 famous magic tricks. So, let's get started. At number 10, the magical kissing card trick. Now, this trick comes in quite handy when you want to impress someone, and Michael John, the handsome magician, performed this amazing card trick on America's Got Talent. Here's what he did. He brings out a deck of cards and tells Mel to sign her initials on the Ace of Hearts card. He then folds her signed card and puts it in her mouth. Similarly, he takes out another card, the Four of Spades, signs his initials on that card, folds it, and puts it in his mouth. Now, when he is seen almost exchanging a kiss with Mel, he tells everyone that the cards have been swapped. Finally, the swapped cards were revealed to amaze everyone around. So, how did he make the cards exchange their positions? Well, here's the secret. Obviously, the cards weren't exchanged after they put it in their mouths. The trick lies in that deck. Yes, it was a prearranged deck, and in some cases, the magician shuffles the whole deck except the first 3 cards on top. So the top 3 cards on the deck form the key to this trick. Here's how the 3 cards are arranged on that deck. The card on the top already has Michael's signature on it. The second card is an unsigned Ace of Hearts card meant for Mel's signature, and the third card from the top is an unsigned duplicate Four of Spades card meant for Michael's signature. Now he takes out the deck with those 3 prearranged cards on the top and shows her the Ace of Hearts, which is the second card from the top. Here he used a basic card technique known as a double lift, which made the card to look like one card and then flipped it over. Now Mel signs on that card. But you know it, while showing face up, the card under Mel's card is Michael's already signed card. Then, using a double lift technique, he flips over the cards, and the card with his signature is again on the top. Now he only picks up the topmost card with his signature, folds the card, and puts that card in Mel's mouth. So this is how the swap happened with the card in Mel's mouth. The deck now has Mel's signed card on the top, and under that card is another duplicate Four of Spades card which is unsigned. So then, using the double lift, he flips it over, shows that Four of Spades card to everyone, and then puts his signature on that card. Now you must have figured it out. Yes, he again double lifts the cards. He flips over the cards, which now brings Mel's signed card to the top. He picks up Mel's signed card, folds it, and puts it inside his mouth. Finally, the swapped cards were revealed to end this amazing illusion. Also, if you look back and pause the video, at the moment where Mel pulled that card out of her mouth and when Michael signed the card and showed it to us, you can see Michael's signatures don't exactly match. This confirms that there were duplicate cards used for the trick. At number 9, the disappearing spheres trick. Josephine Lee, one of the best female magicians, performed an amazing disappearing act on Britain's Got Talent, which wowed everyone present. Here's what she did. She begins the trick by taking out a levitating sphere covered under a wire cloth and reveals the sphere. Thereafter, she levitates the sphere in air and does some amazing levitation tricks with that sphere. To make it even more special, she even uses a hula hoop ring and passes it around that sphere to convince everyone that there's nothing in between. Then she levitates the sphere to an even greater height and magically drops it in the box placed on stage. The sphere is now in the center of the box. Thereafter, she takes out a white cloth, spreads out the cloth, and what do we see? The sphere disappears and is now underneath the cloth, which magically floats in air, resembling a ghost. Similarly, she levitates another cloth in air with a sphere hidden underneath. After opening the door, the sphere again appears, but this time around, after levitating the cloth in air, she goes inside the box and closes the door. Finally, the box opens, the levitation stops, and she ends the trick with a unique disappearing illusion that saw her apparently teleport through the box onto the stage. So, how did she do it? Well, this trick has 2 key scenarios. First, the mysterious levitating spheres, and second, the teleportation part. Now, for the first part, everything that floated in this act were supported by invisible strings and were already attached to each side of the spheres before she enters the stage. The strings were connected through the box in such a way that the right end of the strings passed through the top of the opened box, while its left end went through the hole in the right side of the box. And the trick started with the string attached to both sides of that balloon. But still, who controlled their movement? Well, there were two assistants hidden on each side of the stage who controlled the movement of the strings. And now you must have got it. Everything you saw levitating in air were controlled by the assistants and were responsible for the amount of tension and slackness applied to those strings and kept the spheres from dropping. This made the balloon to appear out of the box and then magically levitate into the box. But what about the two floating cloths? Well, they too are pre-attached to the strings on both sides, and also, underneath each cloth is a semi-spherical shaped device attached, which expands and releases. That's the reason why it resembled a levitating sphere when in air, and once she appeared, the cloth drops on the floor, which created the illusion as if the sphere disappeared. Now, regarding the hula hoop, she was able to rotate the hula hoop around the sphere up and down without affecting the string on the left and right side of the sphere. But what about the disappearing spheres inside the box? Well, to understand this, we need to look at the next part of the trick, the teleportation part. Now, the box placed at the end of the stage has a built-in mechanism with a secret hidden compartment at its base. Also, inside this compartment is Josephine's look-alike assistant who was hidden all this while. Yes, she was the one who made the spheres to appear and disappear by placing and hiding it inside the compartment. Also, at the end, when Josephine spreads out the curtain, here, she quickly gets inside the curtain while her look-alike assistant was the one who goes inside the box, which made the act look convincing to the viewers. Finally, Josephine reveals herself to end this amazing illusion. At number 8, Mind Transmission Act. Kevin Micoud, the futuristic French mentalist who doesn't just read minds, he transmits them. Known for his jaw-dropping mind transmission act on America's Got Talent, where he blends high-tech visuals with classic mentalism to make thoughts seem to travel between people, all in real time, and all in front of a live audience. Here's what he did. Kevin starts the act by inviting Terry Crews to join him on stage as his volunteer for the trick. He walks over to the judges' table, then he takes out a deck of AGT finalist photos and spreads it on the judges' table. He asks Heidi and Sophia to each pick any random card from the spread-out photos and secretly place them under their cups. Before both judges make their selections, Kevin slides his prediction card under Simon's cup. Sophia picks the card showing Shin Lim, the magician, while Heidi selects Cody Lee, the singer. Now, doing some magical gestures with glowing lights and a floating 3D brain illusion, he pretends to extract thoughts directly from Terry's mind, acting like he's receiving the judge's secret thoughts. He then hands Terry a board to write down what he's thinking. Terry writes down Shin Lim and Cody Lee, and boom, it's an exact match. But Kevin's act isn't over yet. He asks Simon to lift his cup to reveal Kevin's prediction card, and what do we see underneath? A single card showing both Shin and Cody's photos combined together in one prediction card, which perfectly matches what Terry wrote down. So how did he do it? Well, here's the secret. To make it easier to understand, let's divide this trick into two parts. The first part, how did Kevin know which cards Sophia and Heidi would select from the deck and had the exact prediction ready under Simon's cup? Well, he forced the cards he wanted onto both judges using a famous technique known as forcing multiple cards. Also, if you observe carefully, the deck of photos Kevin used was not an ordinary deck, it was a special deck known as a forcing deck. Each card in that deck was actually two photo cards stuck together using a special adhesive called a roughing stick. When the cards are fanned normally, they appear as single cards, but when pressure is applied or they're handled in a specific way, they can be split to reveal different photos underneath. Kevin divided the deck into two halves before approaching the judges. One half was rigged with Shin Lim photos, while the other half with Cody Lee photos. he subtly controlled which judge saw which half of the deck, guaranteeing that Sophia would pick Shin Lim and Heidi would select Cody Lee. Now you know how Kevin forced his selections onto both judges, as they were totally unaware and had no influence whatsoever on the cards selected. So it was obvious that he already knew in advance which cards they would pick, so he had the combined prediction card prepared before the performance started. Moving on to the next part, how did Terry Crews know to write down exactly those two names? Well, this part involves what mentalists call pre-show work and dual reality. Before the show began, Terry was approached by either Kevin or his assistant and given a choice to secretly choose two random finalists from a book with different AGT finalist photos and memorize them. When asked during the act, he would write them down. Kevin or his assistant used a similar forcing multiple cards technique while forcing Shin and Cody's photos on Terry. During the act, when Terry wrote down Shin Lim and Cody Lee, in this moment, Terry genuinely felt that he had made a free choice, but the audience believed he just thought of it randomly, and to them, it looked like pure mind reading. This principle in magic is known as dual reality, where different people experience the same moment in completely different ways. Now, some of you might wonder, what about those amazing visual effects during the thought extraction? Well, the glowing light in Kevin's hand comes from a small LED device hidden inside a fake thumb tip that he secretly activates at the dramatic moment. If you look closely during this frame, you'll notice this fake thumb tip on his left thumb. The floating 3D brain illusion is created using a device called a holographic fan. When the camera cuts away for a brief moment, Kevin quickly grabs this fan device, which uses persistence of vision technology to display a floating holographic image in midair. This fan spins rapidly with LED lights programmed to create the illusion of a three-dimensional brain floating in space. The darkened stage lighting helps enhance this effect and makes the hologram appear more vivid. Finally, moving to Kevin's prediction card, which was placed under Simon's cup early in the performance when everyone's attention was focused on the card selection process. Since Kevin already knew both outcomes using his clever forcing technique, there was no need for any real-time guessing. That's exactly how he was able to secretly place the combined photo prediction card ahead of time, making the reveal feel truly impossible. So this is how Kevin created this amazing mind transmission act using a combination of clever forcing techniques, pre-show preparation, advanced technology, and perfect timing to make it appear as genuine thought transfer between the judges and Terry.
At number 7, Move the Ring Magic Act. On the famous Penn and Teller show, a magician named Adrián Carratalá performed a magical ring trick in which he first borrows a ring from a beautiful lady and calls her on stage as a volunteer. He then puts her ring inside a silk cloth and tells her to hold it with her right hand. Thereafter, he tells her to let go of the ring as he instantly catches the silk cloth. The ring disappears into thin air and is nowhere to be seen. Finally, he brings the ladder on center stage, climbs a few steps, and then shows her that her ring has magically teleported onto his shoelaces. So, how did he move the ring all the way down onto his shoelaces? Well, here's the secret. After Adrián borrows the ring from the lady and makes his way up onto the stage, he already has a loop of shoelace wrapped through the ring. The loop is gimmicked, and the ends of the loop are magnetic, so when he's holding the ring in his hand, at this moment, he has the loop of a shoelace hidden in his fingers. Now, when he puts the ring into the silk cloth, the ring actually goes into a secret pocket in one of the corners inside the cloth. Also, that corner is folded inwards to the center of the cloth during the time when the lady holds the ring in her hand, so she's, in fact, holding it through a few extra layers of silk. Adrián then plucks the silk away, and it appears to everyone that the ring has vanished. But actually, it's in the bottom corner of the silk, still hidden inside a little pocket. Now, if you observe carefully, the camera cuts to the camera at the back of the giant screen. Yes, this is the moment where he makes the actual ring transfer. Here, you can see him holding the silk in his right hand by the top corner at knee level. This awkward position also brings the bottom corner of the silk very close to the shoe level. Now during this moment, the shoelace with the ring attached slides out of the silk pocket and sticks onto a small, powerful magnet at the top of his shoe. Also, if you listen to what he says at this moment.
People usually applaud here, but you don't have to. Anyway, thanks. Now is your turn.
He seems to be rushing through his words, maybe because the ring is now fully exposed on his shoe and the audience can see it, so he wants to get to the end of the trick. Finally, the ladder prop is used just to make everyone present there wondering about the ring. Here, some of you'd think, how does the lace thread through the ring when she takes it out? Well, the lace is only the top loop part of a fake lace that sticks to the top of the shoe. That's why he unties it so carefully so as to not pull the fake bow off the rest of the shoe, while the lady gets back her favorite ring.
At number 6,
Lighting up the river illusion. Dynamo, the magician known to perform some incredible-looking acts, performed one such wonderful magic trick on the holy Ganges River in India. During this magical act, Dynamo ignites a flowing lamp in the middle of the river, using just his magical gestures. Thereafter, he lights up the entire river with hundreds of lamps, which amazes everyone around. So, how did he do it? Well, before revealing the secret, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get instant notifications of our new video uploads. Now, let's quickly get to the secret. Out of all the lamps which Dynamo lights up, only the first one is real, and all the other lamps are electric ones. Yes, since the first lamp he lights up was in close view of the audience. So here, the lighting was done using the chemical properties of sodium and water, and the lamp had sodium present inside it. Since sodium is an alkali metal, and when you mix it up with water, you get a highly reactive exothermic reaction which turns into fire and lights up the lamp. Dynamo then places the first lamp into the river. Thereafter, the lamps, which lit up one by one, were all electric lamps already set up before the trick had started. His assistants controlled the lamps using a remote device and were lit up on Dynamo's gestures, which made this amazing-looking trick possible.
At number 5, the Wood Chipper Escape Act. Criss Angel, the magician known for his famous show Mind Freak, has performed quite a few tricks where he's seen doing some amazing stuff. In one of his tricks, Criss is handcuffed and nailed into a wooden coffin. Now what you see here is a wood chipper capable of reducing anything to dust in a matter of seconds. Now Criss is about to risk himself, and he has only a few seconds to escape out of the coffin before being pulled through this dangerous wood chipper. The giant wood chipper crushes the coffin into dust, but what do we see? Criss is all fine, and has magically escaped out of the coffin in full view of the audience. So, how did Criss escape out of the box unharmed? Well, here's the secret. The blades of the wood chipper are real blades and not gimmicked ones, so the only way for Criss to survive this act was to escape through the coffin. Also, if we see the footage, he was nowhere to be seen, and even the audience present there didn't see him coming out. So, where exactly did he move out? Was the person inside the coffin his look-alike? Well, that's not the case here. However, the assistant used real nails to seal the coffin, so there was no way out from its top side. So, the only way he could get out of the coffin was from the left side of the coffin. Yes, there was a secret trapdoor on the left side of the coffin which allowed him to quickly escape out. But, did he have enough time to break those handcuffs, some of you'd think? Well, the handcuffs were gimmicked. Here, the handcuff on one of his hands was rigged and could easily break open by just a quick shake of his hands. So, all he did now was to quickly jump out the door and quickly get onto the back of the truck by hopping through the front seat of the truck. Now the question arises, why didn't anyone notice and hear Criss falling onto the ground from below the conveyor belt? Well, there was a thick mat placed on the ground which made his landing safe. Now, here's the reason why no one saw Criss moving below the belt. There was a mirror placed below the conveyor belt at an angle which reflected back the ground and created an illusion that there's nothing below. So the audience never saw anyone walking in front of them and below the belt. Finally, the coffin is crushed into pieces. Here, if you notice, they did not show the bloody pulp sticking out of the chipper. Now, that's the whole impact of the illusion there. But anyways, we all see Criss magically appearing out of the truck. At number 4, the Quick Change Magic Act. In various talent shows around the world, magicians have been performing this entertaining act where they reveal a variety of clothes in a matter of seconds. Here you can see a beautiful girl and how she goes about performing this amazing trick with quite ease. She comes on stage and instantly changes her clothes, using a variety of different props and settings. So, how does she do it? Well, here's the secret. The act requires a lot of planning, specialized costume design, and its tailoring. But most important of all, a whole lot of practice. If you look at the performer, at the start, she seems to look quite heavy on her waist, while at the end of the trick, her waist is looking slimmer. This implies that she's wearing multiple clothes, and mostly it's the layering of one costume on top of the other. And in this frame, you can even see some part of her blue clothing which seems to be coming out underneath her black clothes. Now, coming back to how her costume is designed, they are in fact known as tearaway clothes. They look like any regular clothes from the front, but in the back there are usually snaps or Velcro sewn into the side seams, and sometimes several pieces of the clothes sewn together. So, what looks like several layers of different types of clothes are actually one solid piece rigged in a particular way, and that whole thing is torn away in an instant to reveal the underlying layer. Now, coming back to the trick, she's wearing a different colored suit, for example, a 3-piece suit or a 1-piece suit made into a single layer that can be ripped off in a second, behind different types of props. So when she hides herself behind a raised curtain, or a circular curtain, or the umbrella prop, what she does is simply releases the Velcro each time she reveals a costume. This makes the costume being thrown onto the ground, and she then hides that costume by a curtain or any prop as it drops on top of her costume, and the costume underneath the suit is finally revealed. Even in the umbrella prop, if we slow it down, you can see that she's getting rid of her black costume and hides it somewhere behind the umbrella. And this is what makes the Quick Change Act look ridiculously perfect. At number 3,
Matrix illusion. Alex and Emily Jesson, the British brother-sister magic duo, performed an incredible act on Britain's Got Talent that took quick change magic to a whole new level, leaving everyone in complete disbelief. Here's what happened. The act begins with a rapid quick change illusion where the woman's dress instantly transforms from black to red. Before the audience can even process what happened, the woman magically transforms into a little girl. Next, the girl enters a large cabinet, and when it opens, things get even crazier. She had transformed into 3 different adults, including a lookalike of Simon. After that, a red wardrobe rolls onto the stage. Simon's lookalike steps inside, and the doors are closed, but when the doors open, he is completely transformed into a woman. Then comes the giant phone illusion. The woman stands in front of a giant phone, and when the magician raises the curtain, she suddenly appears trapped inside the phone's screen. But the act isn't over yet. On the phone screen, the woman transforms into a man dressed as a woman. When the curtain lifts again, the man steps out from the phone, and the image on the screen has completely vanished. Finally, in the blink of an eye, the man transforms back into the woman to end this amazing illusion. So how did they perform these mind-bending transformations? Well, here's the secret. Let's start with the quick dress change illusion, from black to red. The woman here is already wearing a red dress underneath the black one. When the curtain flashes up, she quickly triggers a tearaway seam, drops the black fabric, and boom, instant transformation. Next, how did the woman transform into a little girl? Well, the little girl was already hiding low behind the curtain the entire time. When the curtain lifts again, the girl stands up, and the woman quickly hides through a secret trap door beneath the stage. So, this is how a woman transformed into a little girl. Now moving to, how does the little girl transform into 3 adults? Well, the cabinet we see here, which is made with curtains, is actually divided into 2 compartments with the help of a curtain. When the girl enters the cabinet, it just looks empty, but the 3 adults are already squeezed into the back compartment at that moment. During the act, when they step forward, the girl folds herself into a tiny hidden space in the base of the cabinet. You can even notice a small bulge in the base during this frame. Next, the red wardrobe rolls onto the stage. This wardrobe also has two compartments. In one compartment, a woman is hiding, while Simon's lookalike stands in the other. When the doors move, they secretly switch places. And that's how Simon's lookalike magically transforms into a woman. Now, coming to the giant phone illusion part. Most people think she actually jumps into the screen, but that's not what happened. When the curtain goes up, she quickly hides underneath it while a pre-recorded video of her is playing on the phone screen. She then secretly moves behind the giant phone where a man dressed as a woman has been hiding. On the phone screen, it appears as the woman transforms into the man, and the magician lifts the curtain again. During this same moment, the man walks out from behind the phone and hides himself behind the curtain while the woman remains hidden behind the phone screen. When the magician lowers the curtain, the man appears. So this is how the man steps out from the screen. Finally, let's look at the last transformation when the man turns back into the woman. The woman is already hiding behind the curtain from the start. The helpers wrap the curtain around the man, quickly spin it around, and when they open it, the man is hidden behind the curtain and the woman appears in front to end this amazing illusion.
At number 2, Jamie Raven's Note in a Lemon trick. Jamie Raven, the magician famous for his acts on Britain's Got Talent. In his semi-final magic, he got a signed note by Alicia out of the lemon that was kept intact in front of her since the start of the magic.
Could you take out the note for me?
You've got to be kidding me.
Does that have your name on it? Is that your note?
If we take a closer look while he was folding the note, he had a palmed piece of paper in his hands that he instantly switches and shows to the people. Now, with a signed note still in his hand, he takes the bag from Alicia and drops the note into the bag very quickly. And with an indication to the audience that nothing is in his hands, he reaches into the bag, stuffs the lemon with the note, and takes it out in a very different way. He only shows one side of the lemon to the audience and cuts it very much differently. Now, have you ever tried to cut a lemon like that? So when Alicia took the note out of the lemon, Jamie very quickly closes it and puts it away. But before that, let's take a closer look at it. There's actually a hole in the lemon below, and that's clearly visible. It is this hole through which he stuffed the note inside the lemon, and the magic was created. Now that was a really great trick by Jamie. So finally, the last and most amazing trick on our list, the butterfly trick. We all know Dynamo, who's one of the greatest magicians of our time. He once performed a pretty amazing butterfly magic which became quite famous. Many of you must know Natalie Imbruglia, a judge from the famous X Factor show, and she was the one who saw this amazing magic performed right in front of her eyes. To start off the trick, the two visit an empty club, which has a wall decorated with paper butterflies as they sit adjacent to the wall. In between their chat, Dynamo grabs a butterfly made out of paper off the wall and places it in Natalie's hands. Now, he plays around with that paper butterfly by blowing air into it. After a few blows, the butterfly jumps into his hand, as he makes a cup-shaped hand and keeps pumping more air into the paper fly. Amazingly, when he opens his hands, the butterfly transforms to real life and flies away. Amazingly, all of the butterflies on the wall jump off and fly away with it. The effect looked quite amazing.
God, that was amazing.
So, how did he transform all of them to life? Well, here's the secret. The butterflies you see on the wall and in real were already set up there before the trick had started. And Dynamo didn't just choose this place unknowingly. It was already pre-planned by him and his assistants for this trick to be perfect. But how did that fake butterfly jump into his hand? Well, for this part, the butterfly you see in Natalie's hand is obviously a fake one that he grabbed from the wall. However, the secret here lies in the use of the gecko technique, which you must have heard of, which is quite commonly used by many magicians. Yes, he makes use of an invisible thread to make it jump into his hand. So this thread was attached to his shirt button and on the paper butterfly from the very beginning of the trick. All he did was to just get a hold of that thread and hook the thread with his left hand. After doing this, he pulls the thread to make it appear as if it's jumping into his hand. After catching the paper butterfly in his left hand, At this moment, he grabs a real butterfly with his right hand, which was hidden somewhere inside his shirt. Now, when he brings his hands together, he simply palms the paper butterfly and holds the real one in his hands using sleight of hand. At this moment, the real butterfly is now in his hands, and then he starts blowing onto it to create an illusion as if he's transforming it into real life. Once that happens, he opens his hands and gets rid of the fake butterfly, away from the eyes of Natalie and the viewers. Finally, the butterfly is brought to life as it flies away with freedom. Now, how do the other butterflies come to life? Well, that's not true. If we slow down the video, you can see all those paper butterflies dropping to the ground. And even this happens with the use of invisible thread attached to each one of them. And Dynamo's assistant, present at backstage, is the one who pulls the threads to snap all of them off onto the ground. Now, that hidden assistant, at that exact moment, releases the real butterflies in sync with the trick, which creates this truly amazing illusion. So guys, hope you got the secrets behind some of the world's most famous magic tricks. Which one out of the 10 tricks did you like the most? And name any other magic trick you would like us to reveal. Tell us in the comments below. Do like and share this video with your friends on social media. For more such amazing things, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And finally, thanks for watching.